What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Bobby Fi here. We are going to go through today's MLB slate. I'll talk a little NBA. I still haven't figured out my NBA plans yet, but we're going to get there. I'll share my screen. Wanted to mention real quick, we're doing these videos for free, so please like and everything when you get on in here. We really appreciate it. And yeah, like we want to keep doing at least some of them for free. We're probably going to cut back at some point because we want to focus more on our members. But did want to mention with the memberships, like, I think we're $20 more, right around $20 more than SaberSim for the ultimate package. We have all of SaberSim, but we also have all of PayDirt, who we partnered with, who really does an awesome job both for sports betting and for just DFS in general. It's really, really, really a handy tools. I would recommend any of our site members going through them. James and I made a video. We'll probably be doing another one soon. We also have all of my content. I'll give my exact exposures to everything, a great Discord and everything. Obviously, Sheets and Goldie's projections, which have been unbelievable, especially Sheets' projections have been just like dominating the industry. And that's a really valuable tool. You can even use it with the SaberSim builder. And that's what Sheets has been doing to make himself so successful at this. He's been unbelievable. Rody's Playbook, Brandon Cruz for NASCAR, a lot of great packages. And if you want to try it out, we are still revamping the site. And, as far as everything goes, we would love for, anybody who is a site member for your feedback while we're doing this. But in general, we have all the data. It just may not be as easy to find as it will be in a couple weeks. But I would encourage you guys to jump on this because I think we've got some great stuff. And if you want to do a trial, that might be a good way to start out. All right. Having said that, we are going to get into this slate and talk through it. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on here today because I'm a little bit running late and I've got to get my NBA stuff as well. I've got some other things tonight. Got my phone buzzing on top of it. All right, so let's get into it. As of right now, this is where I'm at pitching wise. Now I'm going to change some things probably, but yeah, it's going to be very hard for me to get away from Scooble as my main pitcher on both sites. I do think C's makes the most sense for the upside on the other, as the next most owned. I don't love this Will Warren play, but I don't love the pitching today in general. That's why you get Luzardo is going to be fairly popular. So I don't get this Hayden Burt. Now we've got Birdsong. Okay, early in the day we had him for 50 pitches. Now we've got him for 70. I think they're going to let him throw more than that. So I guess I'll put I'll make sure I have a non-zero of him. I don't like the Fetty. I really don't like this pitching slate. So that's why I'm going to be very heavy on Scooble and going to have to try and figure out some value pieces to try and get in with my big stacks. That's where I'm at. What's up to Andy and everyone in chat? Let's just take a quick look here and. Well, I'll rerun my exposures, whatever. All right, so let's go through it. All right, in terms of like stacks, I have right now Dodgers, Angels, A's. It doesn't really matter what I have now because I'll be late swapping before those late games. So that's where I'm at. The one thing, and Rody's mentioned he likes Birdsong too. The one thing about Birdsong I just want to mention: don't be surprised if he throws 60 pitches, but don't be surprised if he throws up to 80. I don't think they would let him go if he couldn't throw up to 80, but there's no way I don't think you're getting above 80. The guy hasn't pitched in over a year. So I'd be careful. I wouldn't get a ton of exposure to him, and he probably won't make my high buy-ins, but I do think he's worth a mention. Yeah, I said that was my thoughts on Birdsong. Just be very careful with that one. Don't if you're playing a bunch of lineups, I wouldn't go overexposure to Birdsong. I really don't know how far they're going to let him go. And yeah, like I said, he hasn't pitched in over a year, I believe, unless I got something wrong here. Let me just double check my notes. Did I miss? It's possible I missed something. This is one of those days where I'm a little bit scattered. No, I'm sorry. He pitched 65 pitches in the one outing, and then no, he's pitched a few times. What is going on? So they've been using him in the bullpen. Okay, let me dig a little bit further on Birdsong for site members, and I'll post my exposures later. I'm getting weird pitching data from him, and I'm confused. I'm a little confused on the Birdsong stuff. I had a different notes, and I think I got the wrong notes. So let me get my Birdsong stuff together. I still don't feel in love with the play, but I'm willing to give it a chance. Also, still want to see if they decide. Did they already announce it officially that there's not going to be any opener? Sometimes they'll play that with an opener. I don't know what they're doing there. I don't believe. Let's just take a quick look. Doesn't look like they did. Okay, so I'm gonna have to revisit Birdsong, and obviously the lineups are all coming out right now. So I talked through the stacks I like. I like the late games. I like the A's A's, Dodgers, Angels are my favorites, along with Yankees and I guess Phillies. But again, you're not going to get me any different with the Phillies. I don't think, except for to mention they are expensive and it's hard to fit Scooble in them together. So they're a little lower owned than they ordinarily would be with this massive total against the guy who's been the worst pitcher in baseball. And kind of disappointed last night. Maybe that has something to do with the lower ownership, but they're still going to be plenty owned. So that's where I am as far as team stacks on DraftKings at the moment. Again, I'm going to have to keep rerunning things, and I am in severe pain with my shoulder. Now, here's the problem. Shoulder surgeries are terrible, right? And it's affecting my neck and everything. But I don't want to have a shoulder surgery right before the summer starts. I just lost 25 pounds. I don't want to be doing that. So I'm trying to figure out anything I can do, which basically has turned into me just using the Theragun all the time. Maybe I'm even hurting myself, but in general, it's the one thing that seems to alleviate any of the pain. All right. We'll move on over to FanDuel, and then we'll talk a little NBA. But don't forget to like and all that stuff, and really check out the packages. I think that we have like the most unique offering in all of DFS, and I really think you'd be doing yourself a favor by getting on there. Yeah, so that's what he's saying. Yeah, he's been pitching out of the bullpen. I had a note from a guy I respect saying that he hadn't pitched. I think he said that was his start. He hadn't started this season. It is weird that they're starting. I'm confused at what to do with Birdsong. I'm probably going to let it take what it gives me. But the projection seems a little bit low, so I would trust Sheets and Goldie's projection on him a little bit more than I would Saber Sims. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's not going to matter on FanDuel because he's not going to make it for me over here. School, as you can see, massive. I don't know how to again. I don't like the pitching on this slate. I'm going to rerun this again a little bit later. We'll make sure to get a little bit more of Yamamoto. Make sure to get a little bit of C's, but I just really don't. I don't. If I like a play, I'm okay with Neil. And Scooble at only 90 pitches as a median is a little low, in my opinion. That's where I'm at. I am not getting the Rockies. I don't mind taking the shot. Luzardo's been he's the best ERA in baseball. He's good. I'm not looking for extra stacks here. It's not good hitting conditions as far as cores goes, but it's still cores. And there's so many good stacks. I am not getting to the Rockies much, but maybe a tiny bit. Here's my exposure, and there you go, 3%. There's my exposure on FanDuel. Again, it doesn't really matter as much of these late games because the Dodgers, A's, and Angels are all going to be interchangeable. I will be late swapping at that, before that last game. But for my big buy-ins, I think you're going to see a lot of Dodgers and A's with some of the Angels as well. And again, I will trust some of the late swapping. Although last night it swapped me off my Arizona stacks, which I didn't like. So damn you, that's SaberSim. No, I'm just kidding. SaberSim's the best in the biz, but it just happens sometimes, and that's what I get. All right. What else do we have to talk about? So there are a few players that I wanted to highlight today that I'm getting a little bit more of, even whether inside of stacks or not. I'm getting them on both sides. So this is like a little too much. I think that they announced the Angels lineup in those Soler. Is that what I'm seeing? Yeah. So I'll fix all this stuff. But I like the Langoliers and Rooker a lot tonight. This is a good home run matchup. I also think Trent Grisham in the lefty. Now he'll be owned on FanDuel, but he will not be owned much on DraftKings. So that's that. Those are some that stood out to me. I also like Ohtani and Freeman for the Dodgers. These are not like necessarily off the board names, but these are home run guys that I like tonight. I like Tatis as a contrarian home run as well as Jackson Merrill. Big upgrade for San Diego. Wouldn't shock me. Maybe in a lottery you get a little bit of exposure. I don't really want to stack against Bassett, but it's a spot where I think San Diego I could see having some success. One other bat that I was going to mention is I think Pena would be my favorite, but I do like some of these Houston bats. And then on the Tampa Bay side of things, I personally think I don't like this defensive switch thing they do with Morel later in the games, but I like Morel, and I like I don't love this lineup that they put out today as much as I thought I would. Maybe I have to reconsider my Tampa Bay stuff. Morel and Caminero are my two favorite plays for Tampa Bay. All right, so that's pretty much all of my. Any questions or thoughts? Feel free to weigh in. We already lost the Minnesota game. There is some weather concerns, but it looks like they're probably going to play this other game. So maybe I won't have it. I don't love it anyway, so it's not going to have a ton of exposure to the Seattle-Chicago game. But I'm not going to cross it off by any means. I think it's probably going to play and be okay. It's just there is some rain stuff. Some hitting spots real quick before I get into basketball. that should be noted. Again, it's sort of a down day for the Rockies. Not great, terrible hitting conditions for the White Sox and Seattle. Good hitting conditions in St. Louis, which is, again, I've got a lot of Scooble. I think Detroit is an interesting contrarian stack. Again, I like too many stacks today to get to too much of them, but they're my interesting contrarian one. They could win the lottery, I feel like, today, after getting dominated by Sonny Gray yesterday. Not a great hitting day at Coors, better than yesterday, but still not great. Excellent hitting weather in Los Angeles, excellent hitting weather in Sacramento. And then the Giants are the same as always, just the 60 degrees and a little bit warmer than it sometimes is up there. How many uniques? I'm not messing with the min uniques because I am putting in my own stamp on it. So I do not mess with those things as much as Sheets does. That's not the way that I'm going to play. We all have different strategies and different things that work for us. I don't need to mess with the min uniques as much because I'm already putting my stamp on what I want to do. Good question, though. Just not for me. Sheets would be the one who would probably be more helpful on that type of thing. All right, I haven't even uploaded my contest yet for this, and I haven't eaten. I got a lot of stuff got to take care of here. So I'm gonna probably get out of here in a little bit, but let's just see what it gives us if we don't build anything. 60 lineups, as you can see, the lineups are 1 in the 555, 20 in the 4-point play, and then 40 in the shoot around. Just going for it as it were. I think Minnesota's going to win this game. That's my take. To do what you will with it. Been wrong plenty of times, but I've been right about the underdog so many times that if I was actually able to bet legally in California, I know I'm up money because I've only won the bets that I've made, but I really think this is a spot where OKC, long 7-game series, a little beaten up, only 2 days, only 1 day rest in between. I think this is the game Minnesota kind of has to steal to win the series, and Minnesota is my upset pick to win the series. We're going to see how it goes. OKC has a bunch of guys they can throw out there, so it's not as much like their guys are just exhausted. But I do think if Minnesota wants to steal the series, this is the game that you want to come to play. We're going to have to make 2 quick changes. We'll go down 1 on Shea. We'll go up 1 on Edwards, and then we'll just build and see what SaberSim gives us. But I am finding this one interesting. I think the story for me throughout this series, but especially tonight, I'm going to be relying. I want Conley. I'm not going to be playing Mike Conley much. I am going to be playing Shea's cousin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, quite a bit, and I am going to be playing DiVincenzo quite a bit. Those are the guys who are the X factors for me in the series for Minnesota. I really like both of them. I'm not sure which one's going to emerge as being the right play. Could be Nickeil Alexander for his defense, and it could very, very likely be DiVincenzo for his offense against a very good defensive team, obviously. So this is what SaberSim is giving you if you don't do anything, basically nothing right now. Jalen with an L, J-Dub. Okay, I feel better about being heavier on the OKC, sorry, the Minnesota side of it. I'd like to bump up Edwards and I'd like to be a little bit down. And it's not much, these little tiny projections, but they do make a difference, believe it or not. I also think this could be a very good Chet series. He's an interesting matchup conundrum because he's going to have trouble guarding Randall. I think you're going to see Caruso a lot on Randall, but they don't really have like a matchup for him. I think he's an interesting play in this series. I'm going to be ahead on Chet. But again, a little bit under on these other ones. I'm not obsessed with the Dort idea. I do like the Wiggins idea for multiple reasons, but I'm not going to touch the projection right now. Hartenstein could see that one going either way, but a 1/4 of a point, maybe a tiny bit of a bump. Cason Wallace, Jaden McDaniels. Now the problem with McDaniels, this is going to come down to how they call it. Now we know OKC got away with complete murder. Like literally, it was so common that they just wouldn't, like, not one play. There wasn't one play that Caruso didn't foul Jokic. That's okay, whatever. They let the guys get away with it sometimes, but not one play the entire game. He fouled him every time before the entry. Things that you're not allowed to do this during the season, he got away with. If they let that happen tonight, I think it's going to be rough on Minnesota. If they call it like a regular basketball game, I think Minnesota's in a good position. I think it's a little too recency bias. I love Cason Wallace, and we're going to make Conley, we're going to put his projection well down. I just think this is going to be the other guy's series. Now, look, I'm doing it from the captain spot, so it's going to go the other way. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Nickeil Alexander-Walker in this series. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of, who did I mention earlier? Where is he? Didn't I sort? Oh, I didn't sort by value. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Yeah, I think that's going to be my main guy for this series. Regardless of what happens in this game, I'll still go there. Take Caruso down a tiny bit. So you can see I'm bumping up the Minnesota side a little more than the other side. And I think this is the DiVincenzo nah type of series to me. So I'm going to go a little higher even, and I'm going to go even a little higher on Alexander Walker. Now here's what you'd be getting without all this stuff, and I'll apply it in a minute. But yeah, not nearly where we wanted. And then are we getting any of the Conley? I think by the end we're going to get none. I just don't see it as a good play. I really don't. Maybe full fade for me. Probably will be a full fade by the end. I think this number is too low for Jalen Williams against a team with multiple bigs. It's not like you got to play him or anything, but yeah, take a stab or two, I guess. Would they let Terrence Shannon play in this? Maybe if it was a blowout. I don't think anything else stands out as being especially exciting. Isaiah Joe, there is going to be a series where we see Isaiah Joe, and maybe because he didn't play as much, we'll just give him a tiny little bump. It's not really much of one. All right, so then we're going to go and we're going to rebuild. And because this game has some blowout risk, because every game that OKC has blowout risk, it doesn't matter because I'm not min-maxing except for maybe at captain. But I'm going to just run my builds like this. These little changes, I feel like, are what they're either going to make me win or lose, because this is the way that I'm choosing to get different. And we're going to go back to captains. Now, I don't think captains are necessarily going to change much. They'll change a little bit for sure. But why is Caruso getting some? Well, we'll see what happens after the Sims run. But I do like the idea, and it's going to shoot up my min-max ROI because I only changed the projection. All right, so yeah, so they're still getting to all the Shea. I guess because he and Edwards' price is so similar. Let's take a stand a little bit. We're bumping. So we got Jalen Williams. We're going to bump him down even a little bit more. I think Chet is the one I want to get different with. We went a little bit up. I think I want to go a little higher on Chet. I think so. That's my Chet's about to have some breakthrough games, like some 50+ pointers, fantasy pointers, and I think that we want to be a little bit ahead of the curve on Chet. But let's see what the utility brings us. All right, so you can see I'm getting all the Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I'm happy to take a stand and be wrong on this one. I don't care. It's a lowish ownership. Might even be lower than this, by the way. I think we do it. DiVincenzo. I think I'd like even a little bit more of DiVincenzo, to be honest with you. Let's make it 0.5. Let's see if it changes anything. I want to make sure, and I'm tempted to set a rule. You know what? That might be my rule for the night, and that's another thing you could do. Just decide one of DiVincenzo or Nickeil Alexander-Walker, because with all these guards, they're not going to leave Conley out there the whole time. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe Conley makes me eat my words. I love Conley as a guy. He's a great human being, and he's a great player. He just can't move as quickly as these guys can. Maybe it's not in this game where he starts getting phased out, but my prediction in this series is by the end of it, we're going to see a lot of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, a lot of DiVincenzo. So I'm going to take those stabs early when it's not what the field is doing. Are we getting to any of the Conley? I would bet probably not, right? Yeah, 0 Conley. And I didn't even change that much. 2 fantasy point projection. That's what changed. But that's what you get and when you make these little tweaks. I'm only 2 points higher on Nickeil Alexander-Walker than Saberson. Boom, getting all kinds of crazy extra ownership. That's just the way that this game goes. But I sort of like the idea of one of Na or DiVincenzo at least. And I'm flirting with whether or not I want to make that rule, but I don't know that I need to, because I'm already going to be getting a ton of both of them. That's the decision I'm running into. Anyway, so that's where I'm at, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. I will update my once we have the starting lineups coming in for MLB. I will update all that stuff. And yeah, good luck to everybody tonight. I hope you guys crush it. And let's make some money. It should be fun. And good luck to Sheets, who's at the Yankee game. And good luck to his Knicks coming up. Good luck to our Rangers. We did pick the Rangers this week as a as a contrarian play in best ball. They have 3 against the Yankees in New York, which is not a picnic. But if they can get 1, they got the White Sox afterwards. And we can get 2 of those. Maybe we can even get a sweep there. That's the contrarian thing we did. So also it works against it because if they somehow win 2 out of 3 in New York, then New York, who everyone picked, was like 90% owned. Then they're all done. So kind of a cool strategy there. All right, guys. Good luck to everybody tonight. We appreciate you. And